You have seen these sinfully seductive images on TV, cooking channels and food shows. You've seen them in magazines and all over the internet. It is called food porn. And we're beginning to believe it is making you fat.
Warm, gooey, melted cheese, rich, creamy chocolate, hot, sizzling steaks. If you get excited looking at food porn, you are not alone. It turns out, simply looking at tantalizing foods lights up the same pleasure center in your brain as sex, making you yearn for the pleasure of those high-calorie, indulgent dishes you see. And just seeing images of luscious, delicious foods releases the hunger hormone ghrelin, which drives you to devour those same foods. Are you a victim of food porn?
All right, like the sexual kind of pornography, food porn whets your appetite in ways you have never imagined, allowing you to lust after the orgasm of the perfect bite. Now, this is such a controversial topic that I had a hard time finding guests to talk about food porn. But we have found 3 food industry superstars who are ready to reveal the truth.
They are the consummate culinary insiders. Meet Gail Simmons, Special Projects Director of Food and Wine Magazine, an outspoken judge on Bravo's Emmy Award-winning Top Chef, and an author of the best-selling Talking with My Mouth Full, My Life as a Professional Eater. Joe Bastianich, a judge on Fox's MasterChef. He oversees a 20-restaurant and winery empire on 2 continents, including Italy, a 50,000 square foot food emporium in Manhattan. And Amanda Simpson, a food blogger and personal chef. Her wildly popular blog, Food Porn Daily, is chock full of beautiful pictures of food and even led to a cookbook.
Gail Simmons made the art of food a primetime experience and provokes your cravings page by page in her magazine. Joe Bastianich, his mother, has joined us on the show in the past, is the grand maven of gooey, cheesy goodness. Like mother, like son, he titillates your taste buds both on TV and in his restaurants. And Amanda Simpson is also joining us. She's at the epicenter of a food pornography tracking what these folks do daily on her website. So let's get right to it. What do you think obsesses people so much about these images? Gail, I'll start with you.
Well, they're delicious, first of all. I mean, we all have to eat 3 times a day, if not more, right? Yeah. So why don't we eat well? And why don't we eat things that are beautiful and that are delicious? And why don't we eat things that we love? And I think taking beautiful pictures of food is not unlike taking beautiful pictures of landscapes. It makes you want to go there. It's fantasy. It's escapism. It's something to aspire to and inspire you. I think that's the best part about it.
Joe, what are your thoughts?
I know that food porn is a shocking word, but the real question for me here is a beautiful picture of food, something that represents American bounty and regionalism and healthy eating. Is that necessarily food pornography? And is food pornography a negative connotation to what beautifully photographed food can be that represents what chefs make and put in cookbooks, what magazines put on the cover, foodieism in our country, people who come from Seattle who have great seafood, who can make a great dish, and they photograph it and celebrate who they are, their food culture. Is that all food porn?
Well, porn is sort of self-limiting, right? If you're going to act on it, you do it and you're done. Food's a little different because you seek that same orgasmic response, but you can keep going there over and over again. Mm-hmm. So before I get your response on that, Amanda, take it to your experience on the web.
Well, food is something that we innately need. And so, of course, it stimulates us. So food porn is just like normal porn. It's meant to stimulate. It's meant to make you drool. But it doesn't mean that it's unhealthy. It doesn't mean that it leads to necessarily overeating if you have control of yourself.
Well, you mentioned that concept of controlling yourself. And I'm not sure we're all equally gifted in that area. And certainly it turns on parts of our brains in ways that never would have been thought possible before. But let me just take it to a very practical level. Joe, do you think there's ever a time when you look at an image, a TV program, an advertisement, and say, that's making that thing look so cool that I would eat that, even though it really is junk. I would never really want to put that in my mouth.
Okay, so there's a lot of food programming that we all know about that really celebrates dishes that are excessive, competitive eating, 8,000 calorie dishes, bacon cheeseburgers fried in Snicker bars and with, we've all seen it. And when that is put up as the emblem of American foodieism, as our food culture, that's what's great about American regional food, then I think we do ourselves and our country, where childhood obesity is an epidemic, a great disservice by celebrating that, by really creating that as the emblem of why this country is great.
Maddie, you run a major website that collects these kinds of images.
Absolutely.
You agree with Jill that there are some images we probably ought to shy away from? That we glamorize some of the junk that we put in our bodies?
I think that if you're talking about like the few years old website, This Is Why You're Fat, that would do grotesque images of like 5-pound burgers. Yes, we're not celebrating that. My website celebrates food that is beautiful that you want to eat. It doesn't mean that it's unhealthy. It's all about just consuming fresh, local food and getting inspired by what we're all doing to go home and go into your own kitchen and take what we're giving you and play with it.
So, Gail, a lot of I'll use the word food porn, although I understand Joe's reservation about it. A lot of food porn has fat dripping, off the side of the burger. It's oil just caressing, the whatever it's been poured onto. We rarely get Debbie does salads.
Well,
right? We don't get that kind of pornography.
I would differ. I mean, at Food and Wine magazine, this isn't something new. We have been making beautiful pictures of food for 35 years.
Yeah.
This is not new that all of a sudden we are photographing beautiful food. Imagine that, right? This is we want to inspire people to get into the kitchen, and I would actually say that almost all the images in Food and Wine are healthy, are attainable, are makeable with good quality ingredients. And I think actually we at Food and Wine and on Top Chef do that often. There's also, of course, who doesn't love the ice cream dripping and melting just so.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the gooey, cheesy, delicious bowl of pasta. And those are great. But that doesn't mean I'm going to eat them every day. In fact, the best part about my job, I always say, is you guys don't have to eat it. You guys get to enjoy the show without the calories. That's the whole point of TV. Yes. It's entertainment, right? Exactly.
Well, let me give you a statistic here. Porn, regular old porn, is a $14 billion industry, right? And folks, they like the fantasy. They believe they can recreate what they're watching, which is, I think, what they actually in their heart believe when they watch the shows that you guys have been creating, the websites, the magazines, and the like. But unlike traditional porn, actually, it's just like traditional porn, actually. You can't quite recreate it. It's sort of the same thing when they try to emulate your techniques in their own home. And then they sort of slip down.
I don't know. I mean, there's different kinds of shows, I would say. Our shows are about professional chefs. We're not saying go make this at home. We are showing the inside of the restaurant industry and professional chefs at the highest level.
Joe? I think it's just also in a free country with no censorship, it's about you editing the quality of what you intake, be it food or media, because the First Amendment defends S&M, but it also defends double cheeseburgers with bacon. Right. And I think that as viewers, we have to really edit. And yes, light pornography or pornography may be what some people need and they consume it. The same is with food. It's going to be out there. It's out there to consume, to buy, to watch. You have to edit yourself and you have to make the decision about what's right, what's helpful. I think where it gets dangerous is when children who have access to all sorts of media now consume media just like very, very aggressive pornography, and that becomes what is the standard of sexual relationships or how women and men treat each other. That's a very bad thing. Just like when they see people consuming 10,000 calorie meals with, tens of people cheering on the sidelines because they think that's a great American foodism, that's wrong as well. So I think we have to edit ourselves in a country of free media.
So do you think food porn, let me start with Gail, but I'm going to ask you all this very bluntly. Do you think food porn could be making some people fat?
No, I think people have to take responsibility for themselves. I mean, look, we're the ones actually eating all the food, and none of us are fat. Why? Because we think about what we put in our bodies, because we exercise, because we eat moderately, we eat healthfully, and we take responsibility for what we consume.
Amanda, go ahead.
So I was going to say, in 2009, when I started writing the Food Porn Daily Cookbook, I was 110 pounds heavier than I am today.
110 pounds?
110 pounds. I wrote the cookbook, edited the cookbook, ate every recipe multiple times because you're recipe developing, and still was able to lose 110 pounds. I think it falls on the individual. I don't think that it has to do with what you're looking at.
Well, kudos for losing 110 pounds.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm going to share a story with you that I think reflects what's concerning people in the food entertainment industry. I want you to meet Mona. Like so many of you, she loves her food. She likes watching it. She likes talking about it and reading about it.
I really, really love food. The colors, the smell, the taste, so good. I watch all the cooking shows. I look at the blogs constantly. Chocolate truffles. I must spend at least 6 to 8 hours a day. Wow. When I'm watching these beautiful images of food, I'm ready to eat. Spicy Asian meatballs. I'm sure they're delicious. I started a business making cupcakes inspired from all the cooking shows. Oh, look at that. When I see it, I want to create it and I want to taste it. I'm getting hungry now. Unfortunately, as a result, I am eating more. Probably put on a few extra pounds from that. A Rice Krispie cupcake topped with some buttercream. So my very inspiration could probably be my downfall.
Thanks for joining us, Mona. So you say you were addicted to food. You had to watch your shows, had to follow your blogs. Mm-hmm. I understand you put a little weight on.
Just a little.
Does the number 20 pounds sound about right?
Yes.
There's 2 years, about the right time period?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Do you think food porn played any role in that?
Well, food is my passion. With my job, I spend 90% of my time in the kitchen. So I watch, I get inspired, I create, and with that does come tasting. So I think that I need to, maybe re-examine things a little more and probably watch what I eat, but I really enjoy watching.
Let me share something with you, Mona, because you're not alone.
Okay.
And I think this is going to be informative to my experts as well. You eat with your eyes. And I say that for a very real reason. When we look at it as scientists, as doctors, the more indulgent the photo is, the more you want to eat that food. That's the whole purpose of it, right? That's why people market to us the way they do. And here's what happens. I'm going to demonstrate it, Mona. We're going to use you as the example, if that's okay.
Sure.
So I'm going to show you an image of what your brain looks like.
Okay.
Right? And there it is up there. And you notice there's not much going on there because you're not looking at anything except the scan. Mm-hmm. But if I were to show you food porn, this is what your brain looks like. You see that lit up area? Here's what's happening. When you watch someone else making your favorite cheesecakes or cupcakes or whatever you happen to adore, mm-hmm. Mona, you're an example of this. If that part of your brain is really sort of psyched up to get powerful and control your body, you'll overeat. So that's how our body works. So let me show you an image. And I'd like to just walk you through how I think you're thinking about it, Mona.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure.
And I just want to challenge you all, especially at home, to see if this is what you're seeing as well. So first off, it's larger than life.
Okay.
Look at this image. You can practically see the crumbs on it. Right? The close-ups are so close you can see the pores of the ingredients. Right? You feel like you're having an intimate experience with the food. Am I getting this right, Joe?
Yeah, you might have to write for a food magazine. You do a great job of describing food.
And of course, when you see that, you want to eat that. I mean, it is like pornography. It's pulling you in. And finally, it gives you that imaginary mouth feel that you all have, right? That blistering, crispy topping. It connotes a texture. And you know what it feels like when you put that in your mouth. So you need to have it, that ooey goodiness.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm seeing, because that's what my patients, I think, are seeing a lot of times.
Okay.
And that's why, Mona, some people put on 20 pounds in 2 years, and others can live their whole life, and some even lose weight like Amanda has. Mm-hmm. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yes.
Now, I get why people like you like to watch all these kinds of images, and they enjoy it, and there's something visceral about watching food. But I do believe that food porn does make some people fat. Now, I know you're going to indulge in this, and I'm not asking you to stop, but I've got 2 tips that might be valuable for you. 2 parts of a plan. First off, I actually want you to treat it like porn. Enjoy every sensual, orgasmic nature of the food. Take a few bites. Gail, as you were saying, you're tasting it, not eating all the stuff. That makes sense, I think. Most folks will do that. And the second thing I want you to do is to move when you make your food porn. Specifically, I want you to start using that food porn at lunch, not for dinner. Studies show that it's best to eat bigger meals earlier in the day. When you eat earlier, eat less for overall for the day, but you also stay fuller for longer, so you feel satiated. So I don't want to take away your favorite shows. I just want you to change when you plan your meals around them. And then I want you to celebrate all that healthy food porn that's out there. So Gail, can you work with me on this?
Happy to.
You'll make healthy foods and maybe make some healthy porn foods for lunch?
We already are, every day, in the magazine and on the show. There's lots of delicious, healthy, fresh food.
All right.
We'll keep doing it.
And Joe, I understand you already have a pornographic lunch.
Well,
and
I mean,
by the way, I'm saying, Joe thought we were talking about watching porn while eating lunch.
Right.
Right?
That's the next segment. No, I think that for me, it's about moderation and portion control. You know, I think that like things like, for me, my battle call is pasta. I love pasta. I think that pasta is a great thing to eat every day. Maybe you eat it at lunch instead of dinner. Understanding what a portion of pasta is, like weigh out, like an Italian portion. I'm Italian, so in the sensibility of our culture of the table, it's a lot about moderation and balance. Mm-hmm. And 100 grams of pasta is a portion, and then dress the pasta, not bury it in sauce. You dress a pasta like you dress a salad with the sauce, so lightly dressed. And those kind of little tips, so you can eat 100 grams of pasta for lunch, even with a glass of wine and a salad, and have a perfectly healthy, indulgent lunch that gives you everything that you're looking for. But, you know, it's not the worst of what we're talking about.
And Amanda, will you help me get the word out? You've got some reach.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that a beet salad with like an orange tarragon vinaigrette can be as porny as a hamburger.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that, Amanda.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.